Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Josie, also known as the Ex-Plant Eater. I am an ex-vegan of 14 years turned carnivore who specifically started eating this diet to heal my gut. I had ulcerative colitis and it has went away for the most part since about 2 weeks after I stopped being vegan, but I've specifically found cutting out 98% of plant foods to be super healing for my gut. I actually already filmed this video and then I realized my air conditioner was on the whole time, so I am now filming it on my phone instead of my Canon because my Canon also died. So I'm gonna try to do this in one take. We're gonna be doing another Q&A video today. I had some leftover questions from the last video that I did. People submitted more questions after I made my video, so I wanted to address those and a few questions that I've had in my comment section that I was not able to answer at the moment that I saw the question, so I just screenshotted it. If you ever ask me a question in my comment section, just to address this really quickly, or you send me a message and I don't get back to you, please never think that I'm ignoring you. I just sometimes don't have the chance to see the message or the comment, and I do try to get to as many as I can, but sometimes when I know I can't answer right away, I will screenshot it so I can address it in a video like this. So hopefully, if you did ask me a question that you never got an answer to, you end up watching this or my other Q&A videos, and hopefully I will get to your question. A lot of questions follow the same, people are, curious about the same types of things. So again, these videos, I hope, are pretty helpful for people. So the first question that somebody was curious about was how carnivore has impacted my social life and how meals with friends go. So I'm at a weird time right now with this diet. It's only been about 4 months for me, and I do work almost 40 hours a week. Other than that, I am pretty busy. I do this. I am a self-published author who is trying to finish her second book. I'm, in the process of editing it right now, so I don't see my friends very often. They're pretty understanding about that too. I'm just generally very busy. So all of that to say, I haven't really had much of an opportunity to actually tell my friends, hey, I'm eating this other super restrictive diet to heal my gut. Like, I haven't had that conversation with most of them. I do have a few people that I am good friends with that follow my account on Instagram, which if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, you should. I share a lot more on there. It's at the Ex-Plant Eater. I'll, show it. Oh, I can't show it right here because I'm not going to be editing this video on my computer. All right, it's at the Ex-Plant Eater on Instagram, and it's always linked down below. Anyway, a few of them follow my Instagram, but for the most part, my friends don't really know in depth. They know that I was vegan, and most of my friends weren't vegan, so they were super understanding about it. Even my one friend who is vegan was super understanding about it when I told her I wasn't vegan anymore. But again, they, for the most part, are not aware that I'm eating this other super restrictive diet now. Because it's such a conversation to have, or I feel like it is at least. I'm probably wrong about that. Like, if I just told them, it probably wouldn't be a big deal, but I just feel like there's so much to explain. So I just haven't gotten into it with most of them. So anyway, the few times I have been out to eat with my friends, I've just gotten bacon and eggs because I feel like that's pretty safe for me. And if anybody's ever curious about it, I will just say, I'm eating in this way, like really low fiber, because it's what helps my digestive system. It helps my colitis not come back. And again, every time that conversation does come up, my friends are super understanding about it. But so again, all of that to say, it hasn't impacted my social life very negatively. My social life hasn't changed because of carnivore. But I mean, I guess it has, in the sense that, like, I don't really go out to eat anymore willingly. I would much rather eat at home. But if, there was some event that I needed to go to, or, something my friends invited me out for, I'm not going to not go because of the way I eat. I would just try to fit, what I was getting at the restaurant or wherever I was within the parameters of carnivore. And if I couldn't, then I'd probably bring something with me or eat before I went. It's definitely possible for it to really not, make too big of a difference in your social life, but it's really up to you how much it impacts your social life. If you're going out and drinking with your friends a lot and going out to restaurants pretty frequently, it probably would change things up a lot for you. And that would again be something that you'd have to be willing to do, because eating this way is helping you feel so much better. So that's how it's been for me. Eating this way has helped me feel so much better. It's put my autoimmune disorder in remission. So I'm not going to give up something not as valuable for this, if that makes sense. So that's my answer. It has impacted my social life slightly, but nothing extreme. You know, my friends are all luckily super understanding about things like that, because a lot of them deal with, you know, their own issues. None of them do a diet like this, but again, they're super understanding about it for the most part because of, you know, their own struggles. So that's that. How can I get my skin to look younger? Veganism caused some premature aging for me. So just eating animal foods alone will make a huge difference in your skin. Doing a diet that's like about 90% animal products, every single thing you're eating is going to have collagen in it. So that's going to be really great for causing your skin to become tighter, causing any, you know, bags under your eyes to go away for the most part, causing your complexion to develop more color and be less dull. Everything will improve. Specifically, foods that improved my skin a lot and definitely, you know, gave me the reverse aging benefits. Bone broth, beef tallow. Beef tallow made my skin glow so much. The film on the inside of eggs is super collagen rich, believe it or not, if you didn't know that already. So I would highly recommend eating that. Like if you're cooking eggs, take the film out of the inside of the eggshell and put it into the egg scramble or whatever you're making. And bone marrow is also really good for your skin as well. And anything that's super collagen rich is not only going to be great for your skin, it's also going to be good for, you know, healing your tissues and, you know, all stuff like that. A diet high in animal products in general will cause anti-aging, reverse aging benefits. I promise you that. So if you're a little scared, just take the leap, I'm telling you, and start eating more animal products, and also, you know, reduce those really inflammatory foods like vegetable and seed oils, like refined sugar and flours, and, you know, you will see huge benefits. So next question, any tips on how to get your period back? I'm already eating 70% carnivore. So I don't know what your diet necessarily looks like, but I will say eating a diet really high in animal fat is what's going to get your period back. You know, I'm not a medical professional either, so I cannot give you specific medical advice, but I do know somebody like Steak and Butter Gal, for example. She was dealing with amenorrhea when she stopped being vegan. I fortunately never had to deal with that when I was vegan. My periods were always irregular and they were very painful, but I never lost my period. The only time I ever did lose my period was when I had an eating disorder when I was 12, and I lost my period for about 1.5 years. It took me about 6 months to get it back when I was weight restored, but I don't even remember what my diet was at the time. I think I was vegan. That was probably when I was just starting to become vegan, so I don't know. I can't remember. But again, so Steak and Butter Gal, I know she lost her period for, I don't know how long, months at least, maybe 1 year. I can't remember. But I know that she said that she would eat like sticks of butter and she would eat a lot of ground beef. So if you're not eating a lot of animal fats, I would highly recommend upping the fats, upping things like beef tallow, ghee, butter. Don't be afraid of it, I promise you. I was also afraid of eating fat in general, and especially animal fats, not long ago, and eating more of them has only improved my health. I put beef tallow in my coffee. I put extra butter on my steak. I literally eat like cubes of butter sometimes if I'm hungry and I just need to eat something really quick. It's made a huge difference in my skin. My hormones have gotten a lot better, or, you know, more in balance. I can see that in the fact that my period is not painful at all anymore. My body looks like my hormones are more in balance, like I have more of an hourglass figure. So again, I promise you, if you're not eating a lot of animal fats, try to eat more of them. It will absolutely help, and it will help you to get your period back quicker. I believe that Steak and Butter Gal said that she got her period back within 4 months of starting the carnivore diet. So just hang in there and just be consistent and make sure you're eating a lot of animal fat. So that's that. What do I think of meat being classified as a carcinogen? So I kind of covered this in my last video, in the sense that somebody asked me how I feel about cholesterol and saturated fat. They asked if I am afraid of consuming those and if I think that they're going to impact my health negatively. I feel the same way about meat, or red meat, being classified as a carcinogen. I think that the studies that, are supposed to be proving this are very flawed, and they're taking a bunch of things that cause cancer and grouping red meat in with them, like it's a mutual factor with other things that actually do cause cancer, and they're saying, oh, it's the red meat that causes the cancer. So this is a very extreme example, but say that you're studying somebody who's eating red meat and smoking. They say, the studies basically say it's the meat that's causing the cancer, not the cigarettes. And again, I know I'm exaggerating with that example, but I'm just trying to get you to understand what I mean. So I don't think that it is actually going to cause cancer. In fact, I know I've had a few people talk about the way of eating carnivore called PKD, Paleo Ketogenic Diet. It's a very strict form of carnivore where I think I can't remember the specific protocols right now. I think you don't eat dairy though. You eat a lot of just plain meat. You don't eat any condiments, any supplements. Anyway, I've heard quite a few people say that way of eating carnivore literally cured people's cancer that they know of, or that they know in person. Like, there was one person that I did speak to who said that her husband healed his cancer by eating that way. So again, I'm not worried about getting cancer from eating red meat. Sorry, my cat is demanding attention. If you are interested in looking into this deeper and hearing more like technical medical reasons why this isn't the case, I would highly recommend looking at videos of Ken Berry, Anthony Chafee, and Carnivore MD. They all have videos talking about why meat is not this horrible food that's going to give you all these health issues. They all have in-depth videos about that. So I would highly recommend looking at their channel if you haven't yet, and they definitely have videos about why meat doesn't cause cancer, especially red meat. Personally, I really think red meat is a superfood. It's improved my health drastically. So again, I don't believe that. Okay, somebody also said no questions, but thank you for sharing this message. Thank you guys so much. This kind of fell into my lap on accident, so I know that I'm supposed to be doing this, because otherwise it blows my mind how well this has worked out. I was never thinking that I would find so many people that appreciate this message and agree with it and have similar stories. So thank you guys for watching and for being so supportive. I can't even believe the ratio of people who are supportive to the people who are not happy about me doing this. It's about 98% supportive versus the 2% of naysayers or vegans. So again, thank you guys. I'm very passionate about this, so it works out. Okay, the next person asked how to approach vegans in discussions about health. So even when I was vegan, I always had a pacifist approach, if that's the right word or the right way to describe it. I never pushed my diet on anyone. I never made a big deal about it. If somebody was eating meat around me, it honestly never bothered me. Maybe that was a sign that I wasn't going to always be vegan also, but I never gave people an issue. I never got confrontational about things like that. So I kind of have the same approach with the way I eat now. If I was around my friend who is vegan, I'm not going to go criticizing her diet, and that's just who I am. On the other hand, I know that that is very unhelpful advice. And if you have a friend who you're trying to help who's really suffering, and you just know that they can improve so much by stopping being vegan. My best advice would be to wait until they express some kind of doubt. Wait until they express something like, if they say that they have a digestive issue, then give an example like, oh, this person who I found online, or, this person who wrote a book, whatever you want to say, they fix their IBD through eating meat again. And give them an example like that, so that hopefully they can, conceptualize it in their mind. And, it might plant a seed that eventually will grow, and they'll realize, maybe, this is my last resort. Maybe I do need to eat meat again to fix these health problems. So I would wait until that person expresses some kind of a doubt, because it's so hard to break through to somebody like that. Otherwise, if they're completely just still set on veganism, I know from my own mindset when I was vegan that nobody was going to tell me that veganism wasn't right. And that's also why I have this attitude towards people like that. I know that nothing would have broken through to me when I wasn't ready to see it. So it's a hard thing to know how to, deal with it in the right way, in the way that's going to break through to someone. But again, I would wait until they bring up maybe like a relevant health concern that, somebody eating an animal-based diet, has fixed, and then give them that example. Or this is more of a, like a blunt and crude thing that you can do, but I would show them the Spherage Epitome of Malnourishment videos. Those, I already wasn't vegan when I found those videos, but I was still, unsure about it. When I found those videos, and if you don't know what they are, he takes a lot of clips of vegans just acting like downright insane, or he shows these comparisons of a person when they went vegan versus a few years later. And it's so disturbing. It's so sad. And that was what, when I saw it, I was like, I want nothing to do with this group of people. I can't believe I didn't see this sooner. It was so disturbing for me, because I could suddenly see myself in those people. I could see this, person who was, sorry, my cat's hair is getting in my freaking eye and it's itching. I could see who I was as a person who was like so well-intentioned, but so stuck in this mindset and in this denial, and, holding on to this diet that was deteriorating me and causing my health problems. And when I finally saw it in that light, I was like, I'm done. I'm totally done. Like, never again. And in a way, I think that really paved the path for me to start the carnivore diet, because it essentially made me want to do the opposite. Which again, like, I'm not saying everybody should do the carnivore diet. If you eat a highly animal-based diet, that'll set you up to be super healthy. But for me, I've explained this like so many times. I do this diet because it's healing my gut, and I don't know if I'll, ever be able to tolerate things with a lot of fiber again or whatever, but that's just me. Anyway, yeah, the Spherage Epitome of Malnourishment videos, I will link them in the description of this video. If you want to take another more direct approach, you can try to show them those and see what they say. If it's somebody who's really stuck in the mindset of veganism, who believes all the propaganda, they might not even see that. They might have some kind of excuse or some kind of, denial towards it, but you could try. You can try. And otherwise, I would say to just try to keep your cool and try to explain things very rationally. If they say something, like, what do vegans even say? If they say something like that they can get every nutrient on the vegan diet, then explain very calmly and in a collected manner why that's not true. That's my best advice. It is hard to approach this kind of a thing because people are so stuck in their own mindset, especially when it comes to vegans. So best of luck if you are going to try to discuss health topics with a vegan. I know from firsthand experience online how they can be. So again, you can try to a degree, but don't waste your time if you know you're not going to get through the person. It's my best advice when it comes to that. Okay, so somebody said, do I recommend counting calories to start off, and how would I find out my macros? So I have a whole video about the fact that I stopped counting calories on the carnivore diet. I counted calories like religiously as a vegan. I would say throughout my time as a vegan, I was always aware of how many calories I was eating. And it was something that was a very like obsessive compulsive thing for me. If I perceived that I ate too much, I would get super bad anxiety. And it was just a very unhealthy thing for me to be doing mentally. So I stopped counting calories about 2 months ago because I was starting to realize that my satiety cues that I was completely out of touch with for the entirety of my time as a vegan. And mind you, for about a solid 2 years towards the end of me being vegan, I was not restricting calories at all. Like, I knew how many calories I was eating, but I was eating more than 2,000 calories a day. So it's not like I was starving myself. Anyway, wow, I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, I was not restricting calories, but I was always aware of how much I was eating. And I carried that over into me doing the carnivore diet. I was aware of how much I was eating, and suddenly I was consistently losing weight after I started the carnivore diet. And I can't explain that exactly. I think it has to do with insulin, but I was eating the same amount of calories that I was eating as a vegan, and I was losing weight. So that was a part of why I knew I needed to stop, because I don't need to lose any more weight. But another part of it was because my satiety cues were actually where they were getting to where they were supposed to be. Like, I could eat a few pieces of butter, which again, that's the thing with when I was vegan, was that I was always afraid of the amount of food I wanted to eat, because I perceived that if I didn't count calories, I would eat this insane amount of food, like volume wise, because again, I was never satisfied. So then taking that mindset over to being carnivore, if I kept that mindset that I had as a vegan, I would think, oh, if I eat this little tablespoon of butter, that can't fill me up. I would need to eat like 2 sticks of butter, and that's way too much. So I essentially, I didn't trust that my body would be able to regulate eating things that had such a high calorie density. And then lo and behold, I was completely wrong about that. My satiety cues went back to normal, to the way that they should be. And I can literally eat like a few pieces of butter and know when I've eaten enough. Like, my stomach literally tells me, like, I feel full. And that's from eating a very small volume of food sometimes. So that was what made me trust that I didn't need to count calories anymore. And the fact that I kept losing weight. So it got me to the point where I was like, I can let go of this super, anxiety-inducing habit that I've had for over a decade. It's time for me to let it go. And that was about 2 months ago. And since then, my weight hasn't changed. If anything, I've probably put on a little bit of muscle, but in terms of like gaining fat, no, I physically don't notice it, if that's the case. I did also stop weighing myself for the most part, but I did check my weight and I weigh like a pound heavier. So again, I don't really think that counts. Like, I basically have stayed the same weight. So all of that to say, very long-winded response to this question, I personally don't think counting calories on the carnivore diet is necessary. I think this diet is so nutrient dense that if you're when you start the carnivore diet, your satiety cues might be messed up. But as you go longer on this diet, your body will regulate itself. You will lose weight, but you have to be consistent. So if you want to count calories to start off to gain an idea of how much you should be eating, that's completely fine. But once you get an idea of how much you should be eating in a day, I think that it's definitely a habit that you should let go of, especially if it's something that causes anxiety for you. It's just not worth it. And the nutrient density on this diet will cause your satiety cues to come back again, but you just have to be consistent. And in terms of how you would find out your macros, so I never used any of those online calorie counting websites or apps. So if anything, if you did want to find your macros, I would use one of those. I never use them, so I don't have any recommendations, but they're out there. Like, you could just search on Google and you can input what you're eating and it will give you your macros. I always just like looked up calorie counts and then just memorized it in my head. So I have like, my own personal database in my head of how many calories everything has. It's great. So that is my best advice when it comes to calories and macros. The same person asked if I eat sausage and hot dogs. So I always do, when it comes to those things, either grass-fed or pasture-raised or organic. I never buy, especially when it comes to processed meat, like conventional, just regular hot dogs, like the, what are they called? Like Oscar Mayer. I would never buy those. And really lately, I have just been buying just plain pork and plain chicken. I haven't been buying anything with seasonings. So personally, no, I don't eat them anymore, but I was for the first few months of doing carnivore. It just got to the point where I feel like my body's becoming more sensitive to spices and to other additives that are in them. And I would see it in my face, like I would get inflammation, I would get breakouts, specifically from eating hot dogs. The last time I ate hot dogs, which they were like a grass-fed brand that didn't have that many ingredients, but the last time I ate them, probably because of the histamines, I'm not too sure, but they caused inflammation in my face, like they caused a breakout, and I believe my face was like I don't want to say super bloated, because I haven't been like super bloated since I stopped being vegan, but my face was puffier in the morning than usual. So after that, I haven't been doing sausage and hot dogs anymore. And that's also to mitigate the amount of seasonings that I'm eating, because the only seasonings I'm eating at this point are Redmond's Real Salt. You don't have to be that strict, especially if your body isn't as sensitive as mine. So again, if it's going to be the thing that either prevents you from eating this way or not, I would just eat sausage and hot dogs, but just make sure that you're getting a high quality brand without a lot of additives, with the least amount of ingredients as possible. So again, I don't think you have to completely eliminate them. Plenty of people that do an animal-based diet still eat those foods. Okay, so somebody asked so this I remember was an Instagram comment that I saw and I just did not get to answer the person. So somebody asked if avocados and hemp seeds are good for hormones and to get like an hourglass figure. And I remember specifically the person said that they weren't too keen on eating meat, so they were going to do eggs, like raw eggs and raw milk if they could get it. So avocados I think are okay for, I don't even want to say for hormone health, but I think for minerals and to get some fats, they'd be good. Hemp seeds, personally, I don't do any seeds. I think that there, a lot of people in this community that are like medical professionals have made a pretty good case against why we shouldn't be eating seeds because of the anti-nutrients in them and because of what they do to the gut. They're not very good for the gut. So I would not do hemp seeds. I think that avocados should be fine, but if anything, the raw milk and the raw eggs are going to be what promotes hormone health, promotes getting an hourglass figure. I know that this is unhelpful advice for this person, but I will say it till the end. Red meat and beef tallow specifically, I feel like that made the biggest difference in my hormones, but absolutely raw dairy will improve your hormones, and I'm sure it will help you get a more hourglass figure because, again, it will promote hormone health. But I feel like, you're not you could be making more progress if you did eat meat, but again, if this person is not comfortable doing that, then I do understand. Everybody is on, at their own place in their journey with health and fitness and nutrition. So if you're gonna do a diet without meat, I would definitely say the raw eggs and the raw milk will be the best for getting your hormones back in balance and getting a more hourglass figure. All right, guys, so that is actually all the questions. This video is, wow, a half hour. So I am probably not going to, I can't edit this because it's on my phone, so I'm going to put it up as is. I hope you guys found this helpful and enjoyed it. I will add just at the end here, I did start my Patreon. It's always going to be linked in the description. I haven't put any specific content on there right now, but the second tier does allow you to message me, and I will be prioritizing those messages over all of my other messages on Instagram and my, comments and everything. If you message me on my Patreon, I will absolutely get back to you. I really think that if anything, anybody that messages me on there, if you're a person thinking about not being vegan anymore, if you're dealing with gut issues, that is my I don't want to say expertise because I'm not a medical professional, but I have the most insight on things like that. So again, if you have a question you really want me to answer, you need my advice, and you're, trying to do an animal-based diet, I would highly recommend messaging me on there. Otherwise, I will start announcing it when I do upload exclusive content on there, and you guys can subscribe then. But I'm just putting it out there. It has begun, it has launched, but I'm not expecting really people to really start subscribing to it until I start posting exclusive content on there. So yeah, anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I will see you guys in my next video, and thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe.